Retirement is that time of the year when one says age is catching up, they're unable to do any work, and one chooses to permanently leave the employment. During such a crucial moment in life, it is advised to take less risk and enjoy the fruits of your investments that one has made over their working life. Now, National Pension Scheme, a safe voluntary retirement savings scheme, is locked up for building a corpus for your life post 60. Now, however, this tool will soon see some investment changes, and to discuss the implication of this, we have on board Dhirendra Kumar, CEO of Value Research. Dhirendra, good evening and welcome to the show. So, NPS clearly is a very smart investment instrument to accumulate your retirement corpus, and we are seeing a lot of changes are also being made to make this product more investor friendly. Now, to talk about these changes one by one, it seems that investors can invest in equity through NPS till the age of 60. The capping has apparently gone up. How does this work and how do you look at it?
No, I think the government always had, NPS was crafted by NPS with a different objective, and government always has a tendency to fiddle, to try and control how people should, invest. Government has no business to be doing that. If I'm the investor, if I invest in NPS and I choose to invest 100% in equity, why should the government tell me that if I have turned 60, I should not be investing fully in equity? I think, I come across a lot of retirees who in their 70s or, they're 75-year-old, and they don't have an income requirement, and they would like to leave a larger estate for their successors. And they should be, even a 75-year-old person, given a situation, given a context, should be allowed and permitted, and government should have no business in saying that you should invest in equity or not invest in equity. What government should actually try and do, or what they have been doing is, they should try and incentivize that people invest. The very design of NPS is such that if you are investing at a young age, NPS has a very valuable feature that if you are doing your SIP or your monthly contribution towards your retirement is of 1,500 rupees, till you turn 80, till you turn 60, you can't withdraw that money unless there is a special situation. And for those three things, for your child's education or for your critical illness and for nothing else. So that kind of barrier for those people who are accumulating their savings with their small sum of money, it is brilliant. But I think, up to 60, 100% in equity should have been there from day one. It is my money.
Right. So you just mentioned that why shouldn't one invest in equity post 60? Now, why not investing in equity can be a dangerous thing. A lot of advisors actually advise against it. So what's basically your rationale behind keeping someone invested in equity post 60? And it's that kind of an age where you're actually, for a lot of people, they're not making any money, but investing your money in equity can in fact help you make money.
No, I think that is lazy advice, or that is not a very wise advice. If somebody is saying that if you retire, then you should retire your equity portfolio, I think it could be dangerous. Not investing in equity could be the most risky thing which an investor could do in his retirement. Because let me give you an example. Assuming you have 1 crore of rupees and you invest all that money in something called, the floating rate bonds of Government of India, which is the safest. The likelihood of you failing is virtually zero, and you get 7%. Assuming that for some accidental reason, the government says that they like you very much, and they make it tax free. Assuming it is 7% tax free, and with a 1 crore rupee, you will earn 70 lakh rupees. Of course, it won't be tax free, but assuming that you will earn 7 lakh rupees every year, which will translate into something like 51,000 rupees a month. Now, if you keep consuming 7%, what do you do after 5 years? Because after 5 years, the worth if you require 51,000 rupees today every month, 5 years down the line or 3 years down the line, you might need 60,000 or 55,000 or 65,000. And if your capital remains constant and if you keep consuming the income, then you will be short of money and you'll start eating your capital. If you start eating your capital, your subsequent income will also come, will get reduced. And you run the possibility of outliving your savings, which could be a nightmare at a stage, at an old age. So the only way to protect yourself methodically out of this are two things. You only have two ways out, which is reduce your expenses, which could be non-negotiable, because if you're getting older, your healthcare cost or many of the things may not be. It's very hard to reduce your expenses. Much easier to increase your expenses with your rising income. So downward revision is difficult. Then comes so if you don't have equity, you're going to be in great trouble, and it is important that investors get used to having equity and navigate through equity in a methodical way. Most people are, the perception of equity being risky is just like that. Electricity is risky. If you touch it the wrong way, you'll be hurt. But that is why you should use it the right way. You should use it wisely. You should be regular with it. You should be investing for a long period of time. You should be investing methodically. You should not invest with a short-term view. You should not become a seasonal investor that, okay, market is getting exciting and you have to catch the bus because your friends are, have made money and you have missed the bus. Those are the drivers. Investing in equity has been a seasonal affair so far. That is why investors are wary of equity, and not investing in equity could be the most risky thing an investor can do.
Exactly. Even if you want to do it through NPS, one should definitely try the schemes that are available. But then now, Dhirendra, the problem is how can one appropriately select and make use of the NPS schemes? Because there are options and investment schemes available for every type of investor who has a certain risk appetite. Now, the problem is, or the confusion comes in selecting these schemes. So how can one go about it?
No, I would like to suggest that investors should go for a very simple thing. One is that you have all the information available on NPS plans uh, in public domain, including value research online. You just look for the historic performance of all the, or economictimes.com. You can look at all the NPS performance, and one should keep it simple. Everything is confusing. If you want to confuse yourself, you have to really unclutter. You have to get through the clutter. For example, there are 3,000 mutual funds, and you only need 3 or 4 mutual funds to plan your finances. Likewise, you only have 70, 80 similar variants of NPS available. But most of the variants are not meant for everybody. The state government plans are meant for state government employees. The central government plans are meant for central government employees. The Swavalamban plans are not available. Atal Pension Yojana plans are different. So you are left with, and one should not be considering these alternative plans or investment avenues made available. So keep it simple. Broad to asset allocation, which you need to choose one equity fund, one fixed income fund, and maybe the fixed income that you decide can equally be split into gilt and corporate bonds. So, you basically have 3 funds to choose. And this is pretty straightforward. If you are young, if you are below 40, have 75% allocation to equity. Only when you are likely to need the money sometime in next 4, 5, 6 years, start reducing that and start moving that money to fixed income. But even otherwise, if you're 25% money, which NPS plan administration automatically rebalances. In fact, that is one of the great advantages of NPS, that every year they rebalance it to 75-25, which I think is a great feature, because you are sometimes able to lock your profits by moving money from equity to fixed income. And sometimes if it is, if the market has become very cheap, one is able to invest, somewhat reasonably time it, depending on that. And it happens in a very disciplined way, which no investor will otherwise do himself, because the emotions will drive you to act differently. So I would say that have 75% into equity till you are 40, 45. And unless you need the money, maybe keep it as long as possible. And only when you are likely to need the money in the next 2, 3, 4 years, make sure that your fixed income allocation is, if it is enough, then also don't move your money. Because I think if anybody is investing in equity with a 5-year time frame and more, one is unlikely to be in a situation when you don't earn as much as the fixed income. And that is very important in your initial years.
Right. Let's talk about more options and more features which are introduced in NPS. Now, it seems that there is an option of SLW, that's systematic lump sum withdrawal, that's been thought of to be introduced. And it says that SLW will allow you to withdraw 60% of your corpus periodically from the age of 60. Now, that's a new feature, but how do you look at it, and do you think it's really going to be effective considering it's your retirement corpus and we would need that money once your particular income gets stopped?
No, I think it is a very meaningful thing because many investors, because NPS is a very effective way. It is low cost, it is well managed, it is very close regulatory oversight, and most of the users of NPS will be very naive users. So if you require more income, 40% of the money when you retire must be turned into annuity. I wish, and the PFRDA actually gives an investor a choice that, they will allow it for the first, you buy annuity, or you can lock that money for a systematic withdrawal, or withdrawal plan. But I think, this withdrawal plan is a very desirable thing because you don't have good income avenues available. Any annuities are not very effective. They're very low yielding, very expensive. So if from the remaining corpus, and annuity is, just the bare essential, 40% of the money, it has to be used for buying annuity. And if you need supplementary, if your requirement for income is more, the current situation is that NPS says that take your money and get off from here. When you retire, take all the money, 40% must be used for annuity, and 60% you take care of itself. Now it is saying that you don't have to take care of it yourself. You can take your money periodically depending on as much as you need. So it's a very desirable thing. And I think it is empowering investors. And investors should really spend some time to understand how it works and how these simple features are very powerful features.
But then one more new thing in the guidelines say that now for handling of the corpus that's meant for issuance of the annuity of deceased subscribers. Now this new guideline says that the deceased subscriber on the demise of the spouse, the annuity can be reissued to the family. How will this work? And if we specifically talk about government NPS subscribers or private sector NPS subscribers, do these rules or guidelines differ, or it's the same?
No, this is actually a legal glitch because what was happening is, annuity, you get it in, you get it in various formats. That annuity can have multiple terms that your spouse will get the money if on your demise, or your annuity payment will actually get reduced by half on the demise of the other of the spouse, or things like that. I think this is just clarifying the entitlement because if on the demise of one of the partners or the spouse, then the other person should be entitled to getting that because that is what that is what it was provided for, or that is what it was accumulated for. So this is just clearing a small glitch which was there, or maybe there will be some legal issue which is getting resolved here. Nothing more.
All right, so we've been discussing about NPS and the latest introduced features in that. One last question. Should NPS be the only investment instrument for retirement planning, or should one should have a diversified investment strategy for this particular goal, as we always say?
No, NPS could be a very effective savings or investment vehicle for your multiple goals, and it could be a very effective vehicle for for a lot of people who just can't save anything beyond somehow they are able to get into the NPS, and they don't have access to many things otherwise. And I think with this Aadhaar, digital access, smartphone, and NPS is very beautifully organized to deliver all these service in a very seamless manner. And so it can well be, if you have only that much money which is getting into NPS, or you don't have access to the market, by all means, it can be complete in itself. But if you want supplementary income, if you want, if you have the wherewithal, if you want to make it, NPS is no different from mutual fund or a diversified equity portfolio, just that on a certain scale, you can justify your attention elsewhere. But to keep it simple, if you're investing, something like just 15,000-20,000 rupees a month, and you want to take the full benefit of ATC and ATCCD, then NPS itself can actually take care of it.
All right, so that will be all on NPS, but then that's a very good thing that you just mentioned, that one needs to diversify and look at the risk appetite and understanding of investment instrument if at all they want to plan any goal. Thank you so much, Dhirendra, for being a part of this show.